Hello and welcome to my little bookish corner of the internet. My name's Harriet. Today I'm taking part in the Once Upon My Bookshelf tag. I saw Hanreadsbooks do this and I was really inspired to join in. I will leave their channel link down below. They have some really great videos. They're really bubbly and fun. I really enjoy watching them. But this tag basically will be me revisiting the books that I read when I was a child that I remember reading and into my early teens. And me talking about what I loved about them at the time and whether I think it would be something that I would reread. So I'm really excited to start this video. Let's get into it. The first author I'm going to start off with is Jacqueline Wilson. Her books were super popular when I was younger. I remember my mum coming home with new releases for me when they came out and getting really excited about them, and all I wanted to do was talk with my friends about them. I read quite a lot, so there's some I don't remember. There was My Sister Jodie. I feel like that one made me cry, I think. Cookie, that was one of the newer ones that I read, and one of the last that I read by her as well. Candy Floss, Best Friends, and Vicky Angel. I remember really enjoying that one. But the thing with those ones is they didn't really stick with me. I don't remember everything about them. However, there was a series called Girls. The Girls series was a quartet following three main girls. So you had Magda, Nadine and Ellie, and they were three very different people. They were a tiny bit stereotypical, but at the end of the day, this was like a children's book, so I'm not going to touch on that too much. But these three are best friends and it follows their friendship and relationships. I remember being heavily obsessed with this series when I was in maybe year 5 or year 6. We had a couple of books come in our local library, so I'd read them there, and then eventually I did buy them secondhand too. I am not 100% sure if I would enjoy these if I reread them. A part of me kind of wants to, just to see, because I just remember how much I used to love them. To be honest, I think the only way I would reread these is if I found them like super cheap secondhand, either on Facebook Marketplace, charity shop, something like that. But yeah, let me know down below if you were also mildly obsessed with this series. I think it got turned into a TV show or a film or something, but I didn't get to watch that. But definitely let me know. It would be really cool to revisit the memories that I have of these books, the things I can remember anyway. It's been so long. So yeah, that is the first kind of series that I really remember reading when I was younger. Next up is another series of books that I'm not 100% sure if I would go out of my way to reread, but a part of me wants to, just to see why I loved it so much when I was younger. And that is the Confessions of Georgia Nicholson books by Louise Renison. This was also in Hanreadsbooks video. And ironically, it's the longest series I have ever read. So there are 10 books in this series, which is crazy, especially for a young adult book series. But think Bridget Jones's Diary, but with teenage problems. We are basically following Georgia Nicholson through her extremely dramatic life, mainly surrounding the friendships and relationships with people around her, including her family. And what I liked about these books, I can definitely remember, is that there are some actual issues in here, rather than it all just being like fabricated drama. She's definitely very over the top, but some things I think were important that were touched on, so mainly to do with family and relationships. I remember really loving this series. In fact, I vividly remember going to America with my family and I'd only got the first and second book with me. So I had to buy the third one when I was out there, and it had a horrible cover. It was like, 2 seconds. Sorry, the postman just knocked on the door, so I apologise if I look a bit different. Yeah, the cover. So it was like an actual photo, and sometimes that is fine with me, but most of the time I prefer like a nice looking cover. And I actually do quite like the original covers, even though they're really garish and they're metallic and colourful, but I think it's very fitting for the series. I also really remember coming home from a really bad day at school, and my mum had bought me the 10th book, and it was gold and it was hardback, and it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I don't think I've ever been that excited to read a book before in my life. I do remember being really happy with the ending. I don't remember a whole lot of things that happened in between, like what fills those 10 books. Yeah, I have no idea, but maybe one day I will reread them as like a silly little thing I do, or maybe I can read them between heavier books, like I am with one series that I'll talk about in a minute. If you're looking for some teen drama, then definitely try that out and see if you like it. Then we get onto a series which I'm actually rereading as I film this video, and that is the Hush Hush series by Becca Fitzpatrick. I remember loving these when I was, I want to say like 12 or 13. I believe I read them before Twilight because I didn't want to be seen as following the crowd. That's just who I was as a teen. So I read the Hush Hush series instead, and to be honest, I'm rereading it now. I'm actually really enjoying it. I started this last night. I'm about halfway through the first book. I don't remember finishing the fourth book, and I'm not sure if I finished the third. It's been a really long time. I haven't picked them up since I read Twilight and fell in love with Twilight when I was younger. Although I will say I've read the first book of this series maybe 4 or 5 times, because the other books weren't out at the time, so I have reread the first one a lot. Though funnily enough, I can't actually remember half the stuff that's happening. I know the main plot points here and there, but there's things that I don't think I picked up on when I was younger, so that's really interesting to read. And I wonder if the other books on this list would be similar. But plot-wise, we are following a girl called Nora Gray, and she is a teen in school. And due to a new sitting arrangement in one of her classes, she has to sit next to a boy called Patch. She doesn't know an awful lot about this boy, he doesn't really speak up in class. But as soon as they do start talking to each other, there's this really dark magnetic connection between them. These books are really angsty and supremely unrealistic. But it depends what kind of thing you're looking for, I suppose. I just wanted something easy after reading Game of Thrones, so I thought some angsty teen romance with some paranormal elements mixed in there would be really good for me. I'm really glad I'm rereading them. I'm excited to get to the end of the series. I don't think it'll be very long before I do finish them. But for right now, they're perfect. So the first book is Hush Hush, and then we have Crescendo, Silence, and Finale. This is the one I am actually not sure if I've read or not. I recognise the cover. I think I had it in hardback, but I just can't remember. I got these secondhand off Facebook Marketplace for £5, so that's why I caved in and bought them. Really excited to finish the series. Speaking of angsty teen romance with lots of drama and a little bit of steam thrown in there, the Twilight Series by Stephanie Meyer. Of course I read this when I was younger, I mean who didn't? And I have actually already reread this. So I've read the entire series, I think 4 times. Although if you count Midnight Sun, I have only read that once, and to be honest I was quite disappointed by that book. It's like an 800-page book and only 10% of it was new information, because it is literally the first book told from a different perspective. I should have known going into it. I'm glad I read it, but I don't think if she wrote any more like that I would read it. Regardless, it was still enjoyable because of all the nostalgia. Like I say, I read the books a lot, so I am a big fan of them. The movies are absolute trash and I adore it. I will rewatch them all the time. Yeah, the Twilight Saga was something that I loved as a teen and I do kind of still love as an adult. After I read Twilight for the first time, I wanted to read similar things. So I read a book called Shiver, which is the first book in the Wolves of Mercy Falls trilogy. I think I finished this and started the second book, which is called Linger, and then had the third book Forever, but I never read it. It's strange because I definitely remember liking the first book, and then from there I can't really remember anything, but I'm pretty sure I started the second one and just couldn't get into it, which is a shame. But this is another angsty teen romance, very unrealistic. When I say unrealistic, by the way, I mean the way that the characters interact with each other. Sometimes it's just like, oh, that would never happen. And sometimes it can get a bit weird. But I love stuff like that. It adds a little bit of cheese in there. In this novel, we are following a young girl called Grace, and she meets a strange boy called Sam who has eyes that are just as yellow and the same shape as a wolf that she's seen in her back garden before. I think we all know where this is going. And that's all I will say about that one. I don't think I'll ever reread this. I did see someone review it recently on my Bookstagram and they did not enjoy it, so I don't think I will reread it, unfortunately. I'm sure loads of people have really good memories with these books, but I just have no interest in revisiting them, unfortunately. And yeah, I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video today, and if there's any books on here that you remember reading when you were younger that you'd like to reread, let me know down below. And I'd be really interested to see if you take part in this tag. Again, just leave me a little comment and say that your video is up and I'll go and watch it. I think that would be really fun. Yeah, that is it from me today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day and I will see you in my next video. Bye!